Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your favorite channel, ORTM1, for your English program of every Saturday and Sunday. Welcome. First, the main headlines. The President of the Transition, the Head of State, Colonel Assimi Goïta, received this week the 2021 report from the Office of the Auditor General. The report shows 33 missions carried out. Opening this Tuesday here in Bamako of the work of the first Forum for Research and Foresight. The meeting brought together structure and actors involved in research. This week, Burkinabe and Tahiti signed a cooperation protocol with the Central Office for the fight against illicit enrichment in Mali. Here is the development of Mali news. The ECOWAS mediator for Mali appreciated the efforts made by the government in the transition process. Goodluck Jonathan notably had a working session with the Technical Committee for monitoring the timeline of political and electoral reforms before meeting the President of the transition. The Mali file will be on the schedule of Head of State and Government of ECOWAS summit scheduled for Sunday in Abuja. Let's listen to the ECOWAS mediator at the microphone of Ibrahima Traoré.
So we are regular visitors to Bamako as a mediating team on behalf of ECOWAS. The year 2022 is ending next month. And based on the transition, 2023 is a very critical year. And the heads of state and government of ECOWAS are meeting on Sunday, 4th December in Abuja. And we need to brief them properly where the country has reached on the transition timetable and the projections into next year. And we've held meetings with government officials, and we came here to pay courtesy call on the head of state. And we're quite comfortable with what is going on. The transition program is going on well. There are some few areas that there were issues, but we've been reassured that all those issues will not affect the transition program. And the government is totally committed, and that is what we want. And that is what ECOWAS leaders will be happy to hear.
The President of the Transition Head of State, Colonel Assimi Goïta, received this week the 2021 report from the Office of the Auditor General. The report shows 33 missions carried out. They concern central services, personalized organization, local authorities, public policy, and the management of COVID funds. The acting Prime Minister, CMT President, the members of the government, and the Auditor General of Rwanda took part in this solemn handover ceremony. Report Garibou Pergu, translated by Gausu Jara.
The Office of the General Auditor is one of the greatest institutions of the state. The General Auditor has come to end a monthly report over to His Excellency Assimi Goïta. In 2021, the Office of the General Auditor did 53 missions about control. It is a concern of health, transportations, education, decentralization, energy and water, mining sector, rural development, technologies of information and communication. General Auditor spoke about control. These missions made up of 20 controls and audits, 4 controls about finance, 8 controls about recommendation and budget. And the irregularities can be seen as a disadvantage for General Auditor. About 20 controls that have been done have showed weaknesses about administrative management and finance of the public administration. The Office of the General Auditor handed a report over to the Supreme Court as well as the Justice Court. According to the control about the realization of a public service, many administrators are not able to achieve fully their responsibilities. This situation can be seen as a failure. To sum up, The Office of the General Auditor will engage to make a good governance in Mali.
The week of the first forum for research and foresight started on Tuesday in Bamako. The meeting brought together structures and actors involved in research. It aims to establish the formal framework of the National Forum for Research and Foresight in Mali and set up its bodies. Report Nuhum Sissoko and Angel Dambele for English Time.
In 2021, several meetings focus on research and perspective, including the seminar organized by the Center for Strategic Studies of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation with other partners. This meeting have established that research and perspective institutions involved in various fields must often work in isolation, hence the idea of bringing them together within networks of think tanks in order to create synergy between them, relations between these various research structures. During this meeting, a reflection was carried out around the support framework for the promotion of research and perspective, in particular by strengthening structures and diversifying sources of funding. This two-day forum brought together around 100 participants from research and public-private perspective, institutions, and civil society.
A delegation from Burkina Faso, Higher Authority for State Control and the Fight Against Corruption, is staying in Mali. This week, this Burkinabe entity signed a cooperation protocol with the Central Office for the Fight Against Illicit Enrichment in Mali. Report Alpha Maiga, translation done by Drisaka Dambele.
In these offices, Malians and Burkinabés around the same table. Signatures, then they exchange documents, all a synergy, a symbol of unity between the two countries. The phenomenon of illicit enrichment, the main subject of exchanges. Mali is responsible to implement all the measures undertaken at national, sub-regional, regional, and international level. This automatically includes international cooperation, which is an extremely important dimension against corruption at international level. Burkina representatives said they are delighted with the signing of this convention, which is the symbol of good synergy between the two countries, united since the beginning with the same social, economic, ethnic, and political realities. The two heads of state are in good synergy. They are in a dynamic back to our values. The High State Control Authority of Burkina Faso and the Central Office Against Illicit Enrichment in Mali are then committed against the illicit enrichment.
The joint government of Mali, FAO, WFP, UNICEF project was officially launched on Monday, November 28, 2022 at the Salam Hotel in Bamako. The project costs $23 million of United States dollars with a duration of 4 years. It is funded by the government of Sweden and aims to strengthen the resilience of communities vulnerable to food insecurity, malnutrition, and effect of climate change in 8 priority municipalities in the region of Sikasso, Ségou, and Bukuni. Follow.
So today was the launch of the project. It's a resilience-related project that is looking specifically at communities that are vulnerable and communities where there is high rates of malnutrition, but also communities that have a need to be supported in terms of their insecurity, in terms of insécurité alimentaire.
This is a very important program. It's a joint program between UNICEF, WFP and FAO in partnership with the Malian government and also the Swedish embassy. And the objective is to strengthen the resilience for vulnerable people affected by malnutrition, climate change and food insecurity in the regions of Sego, Sekasso, and Bogoni. It has a multi-sectorial approach, so it will focus on 3 main results.
The national anti-corruption strategy is about to be validated. A workshop is underway here in Bamako to reflect on the question of what is needed for Malians. The point with Abdul Karim Kaba and Gassou Diarra for English Time.
Malian government would like to struggle against corruption in Mali. In fact, Mali and its partners were thinking about corruption. For them, many opportunities can be possible if we manage to fight corruption. In this case, everybody must know that we can't make development possible if we continue to do corruption. Malian government and its partners play fully their responsibilities to fight corruption in order to make good governance in Mali. According to the Minister of Rebirth, this is a significant moment for us to know about the disadvantage of corruption. In many cases, we must be able to learn people to be hopeful and to try to be patriotic. We have to serve our country with loyalness and sincerity. To be loyal and patriot with your country can be seen as a solution to struggle against corruption. As for the partners with Mali, they didn't hide anything from Malian authorities. In fact, they make sure that they will be available to help Mali if we manage to fight corruption in our country. That was a significant moment for Mali and its partners to talk to the people about the disadvantage of corruption.
The scientific days of the Faculty of Human and Education Science were held on November 29th and 13th in Bamako. For this second edition, the theme was on the crisis in its generalities. The meeting brought together eminent professors from different backgrounds and various institutions. Report Fadema Keita, translated by Drisaka Dambele.
During these days, 90 communications selected by the scientific committee are organized around 4 axes. These axes are facilitators for professors of universities and training institutes of the country deal with the problems of security and economic crisis of the northern regions of Mali. From 2012 to 2022, jihadist occupation, an obstacle to the progress of art in Sahel. The Constitution of Mali, the balance of power as guarantor of political freedom, and others. The first axis of these communications deal with terrorism and local conflict, as well as national and sub-regional responses. The second axis is about refugees. The third axis is related to the impacts of crisis, in particular, the impact on school, health, economics, and sociological impact. The fourth one is on the concept of the crisis. These days became international with the participation of researchers from sub-region, and France remain a great opportunity for Mali by the relevance of the topics addressed.
The advanced degradation of the forest vacation was debated during a conference initiated by the delegation of the European Union in Mali in partnership with the National Direction of Water and Forests. The opening ceremony of this conference, which is part of the diplomatic week dedicated to the environment and climate change, was led by the Minister of the Environment, Sanitation and Sustainable Development. Angel Damile does a commentary.
In Maliwood, energy reform or charcoal is the first source of energy for the populations. Growing demand from large cities puts pressures on natural resources, one of the strong pressures with consequences on their sustainability. In terms of figures, 20 million tons of wood are consumed period without substantial actions to restore the forest. This clearly explained the idea and the meaning of this conference debates on the issue of wood energy in Mali. It was part of the European Week of Climate Diplomacy. To change behavior and many plans must be the common contribution in Mali. At the end of these exchanges, ensuring its summary accompanied by recommendations will be drawn up and given to decision makers in Mali.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of Mali News, but stay with us for the guests of the week. It's a pleasure for me today to receive two guests around me to talk about English language. First of all, I let them introduce themselves to the viewer of English Time. I start by my right.
Okay. So, good morning, Mr. Jara. Thank you so much for receiving us here today and giving us this opportunity to talk about our school, that is AITMA. So, my name is Burama Mariko. I am the manager of AITMA Language Center and also in charge of the English programs at AITMA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Demba Daniel Sako. I'm very happy to be among you this morning in order to talk about English and mainly to talk about AITMA University.
Okay. So my first question is to know what made you an English teacher?
Okay.
Yes.
So I was inspired by some of my teachers when I was at the university. So because I found them interesting and they were great teachers, and then me myself, then I decided to become a teacher one day.
Okay.
And then when I came back to Mali from my studies abroad, so I started teaching, and then later went to ENSUP to learn and become a true teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sako?
As far as I'm concerned, my father was a teacher.
Yeah.
So when I was too young, I was always following him to go to school.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go to school when he stopped going to school because I was really following him.
Okay.
Since the day I decided to become a teacher.
Okay.
And as Obama said, my dream becomes true. And today I'm a teacher.
Okay. Marco,
Yeah.
according to you, how important is English?
Okay, today English is so important, and we cannot even talk about all the importance of English here today, but I will just talk about a few of them.
Yeah.
When you take English today, you know, it's an international language.
Yeah.
So when you travel, you need to speak English and understand English. So when you want to get job opportunities also, whether national or international, so you need to learn English, be able to understand English, so that you can get, you know, these opportunities. And also it is used in all the domains of human sciences. You have sports today. Yeah, you have the media and many other things. Yeah.
Okay. So, Sako, is it possible to learn English and be fluent here in Mali?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
I take an example for myself. I did all my studies here in Mali. I never traveled to go abroad. And I can say today my English is fluent because I can go everywhere and I can speak English everywhere I want. And I can make myself understand by everybody.
Okay.
So I can say it's possible to learn English here and mainly in our center of language. We are proud of ourselves and we can train people to speak it fluently.
Okay. Marco, where can we learn English?
So if you ask me this question, naturally, I will say my language center.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not to just to advertise about our language center, but you know what I know is that we do better trainings in our center.
Yes.
Because in our center we have new technologies like projectors, we have computers, and many other new technologies we use to improve the content of our lessons.
Okay.
Mainly we have videos, listening activities. Because many students who come to us, they come with difficulties in speaking.
Yes.
And when they come, so we have all these new technologies that we use in order to improve the content, allow them to speak English.
Okay. So tell me a little about AITMA.
AITMA.
What's AITMA?
So AITMA first stands for Institute African de Technology and Management. So AITMA has 4 main axes of training. We have management, we have computer sciences, we also have engineering, and we also have law. So, and then also AITMA, beyond, these majors that we have at AITMA, so we also have clubs.
Yes.
In our school, we have clubs for students. We have entrepreneurship club, we have English club, and many other clubs that train students to become better tomorrow. Yeah.
So, Sako, can you add something about the program of AITMA?
Yeah. As my colleague talked about, AITMA in general. I'm going to talk about AITMA Center. AITMA is a university, but inside that university, we have our own center in which we train people how to speak English. And it's organized by entrance test. So once we finish with entrance test, we can give such level to our learners. If you are beginner, intermediate, or advanced, then we can prepare your class and train you in order to be fluent in English. A center which is sophisticated with good materials, as Marco said.
So who can join your English program?
Everybody can join our English program. Those who would like to speak English are free to join us. We can create some of them, students, pupils, NGOs, professional, everybody. If you are in need and you would like to speak English, you are welcome. We will train you.
Okay, that's good. So we are at the end of this discussion. But what is your bombastic message you can leave with us with?
Okay, so what I can say to conclude this is I invite everybody, to come to AITMA. It is open, for those who are interested in studying, at the university, and also those who would like to improve their level in English. So the doors of AITMA are open to everybody.
Sako, what's your last word?
Yeah, the last word is, so as far as our center is concerned, the door is open, and I'm sure our training is the best.
Good. Okay, thank you, Marco and Sako, for coming.
Thank you.
After the guest, now time for the English lesson. This lesson is presented by Gasu Jara, teacher at Avenue School, located at Hippodrome. Follow.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, I have a lesson, a grammar lesson, and this lesson is about expressing quantity. When I talk about expressing quantity, it will be necessary for me to talk to you about nouns. For example, in English, we have two categories of nouns. We have count nouns and mass nouns. So it is very necessary to know how to make difference between the use of many and much. After that, the use of a few and a little. If we want to use many, it is very important for you to know how to use many. We make a sentence with many, and we use a noun. Before a noun, we use many. Okay, what kind of nouns? If we want to use many, we use count nouns. For example, we have many nouns about count nouns. For example, we have car. Car, this is a singular, and the plural is cars. For example, when I want to say many, I want to use many because this noun is a plural, cars. Cars is the plural of car. For example, I want to say many cars. This is the plural. Okay, girl, girls, and I say many girls. Some nouns take S in plural, so some other nouns take change. The radical of other nouns change. For example, the radical of a child is, you see child, and the plural of child is children. I write many and a few are used to describe count nouns. Okay, we have many, and we want to make a sentence with many. So in the sentence, we use count nouns. For example, many cars, many girls, many children, many men, many women, and many feet. Okay, because these nouns are plural. Okay, so the meaning of many and the meaning of a few are not the same. A few is different from many. Okay, and a few is a quantifier like many. Okay, you need to know how to use a few. The quantity of something, we use the quantifiers. The quantifiers are many. We have many, we use many before countable nouns. For example, the king has many children. The king has many children. Okay, there are many children, we say many. Okay, you see, this noun is plural. Okay, it is necessary for you to know how to use. Okay, I specify. When I specify, I say, I have put many before children because children is plural. The noun children is plural.
Thank you for watching us. We will be together next Saturday and Sunday for another English time, same channel, ORTM1. May God bless Mali. Goodbye.